Good morning. Welcome to the Celtic Way morning briefing live. It's Tuesday the 17th, Tuesday the 7th of November even. That'll be better indeed.
Time machine.
Yeah, correct, exactly. Guess who's back? Shady's back. Yeah, there you go. Yes, indeed. I'm Tony Haggerty at Haggerty10 on the X handle, Twitter handle. And I'm joined today, as always, by Ryan McGinlay at the Ryan McGinlay. How are you, sir? You well? Did you miss your old dad?
I definitely did. Yeah, it was nice to have some special guests on the show, but at the same time, we need the main man back in Tony Haggerty, who's going to steer the ship. I know the two of us steer the ship and
Oh,
collectively
no.
together, but it's always good to have other people. But at the same time, you need your regular contributors back.
No main man, as I said before, just a normal one, sir. That's it. You and me both, indeed. We're all equal here on the Celtic Way morning briefing, but it's good to be back. A few days off there, trying to recover and see family members, etc., etc. Anyway, we like to big up our sponsors first thing, and we'll do that right now. And the morning briefing is brought to you by MPH Group and their Scotland's award-winning family-run all-trade specialist, covering all of mainland Scotland. And every service you opt for enters you into MPH's incredible holiday giveaway, and you could win a 7-night stay at the luxurious 5-star Moon Palace Resort in Cancun, Mexico. But also, we've got a promotion, as you can see, and winter's rolling in. And if you're thinking of giving your home system a boost, then you can. There we go. Where are we? MPH has an enticing Navien Boiler Winter Promotion just for you. You can see Ryan pointing to that right now. When you opt for a Navien Boiler installation through MPH Boilers, not only are you choosing top-tier efficiency, but you're also getting a free Navien Internet Controller, and the little gadget can crank up your boiler's efficiency to an impressive 98%. And the cherry on top, they're covering the first year's service with no added costs. And if you're wondering why Navien, they're gunning for the Product of the Year at the H&V News Awards, and that's the Oscars of the heating world. And to top it all off, the Navien ON range comes with a 12-year parts and labour warranty, and that's some serious peace of mind right there. So a big shout out to MPH as well, because they're nominated for the Small Company of the Year at the same awards. Excellence recognises excellence, I guess, and MPH even offers flexible finance options. So gear up for a chill and consider making a smart move with MPH and Navien, and you will find all the links to MPH social media sites and telephone number in the description of this video. And we thank MPH for sponsoring the Celtic Way morning briefing. There you go. I think I got through that, Ryan. First day back. Chuffed with that.
Yep, no rust, no ring rust or anything whatsoever. That was very, very expertly manoeuvred.
Not too sure about this comment, but Tony's becoming an expert in old boilers. Hey, keep it clean, sir. It's not even the watershed, 10 o'clock in the morning. There you go. Anyway, Ryan, Celtic in the Metropolitano tonight. Atletico Madrid. Mission impossible?
Definitely not impossible. Mission probably improbable. I don't know if that's a really rubbish version, a really knockoff version of the Tom Cruise classics. But yeah, it's going to be a very, very difficult ask tonight in the Metropolitano. I've been calling it the Wanda Metropolitano. Didn't realise that Wanda is a Chinese company. I think they've got a new sponsor, so that would technically be out of date. So it's just the Metropolitano Stadium. I know they've got another one, but I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me. Something like that. Yeah, something like that. Regardless of what it's called, one thing that isn't changing is how amazing the stadium is. The interview with Alistair Johnston last night, you could see in the background just how pristine the ground is. I think it was opened in 2016, 2017. So it's a really, really new ground. It's high tech, high definition, really high quality football stadium. So Celtic will be playing in a cauldron tomorrow night. It'll be nice both on the pitch. Don't think it'll be as nice off the pitch because the atmosphere will definitely be quite intimidating for the players playing. But as I said, it's mission improbable, not mission impossible. A number of things, like I said, against the Atletico Madrid in the home leg. It's a couple of things that have to go Celtic's way on the night, even more so away from home. But if they stick in it and keep it tight, who knows what can happen? It's the Champions League. This is where Celtic want to be. They want to be in this position, and if they keep it tight and keep the score down for as long as possible, then you never know. But they've really got to. There's got to be 3 or 4 things that go right on the night for me for Celtic to get anything from this game.
As a wee aside, I was in Madrid, the former stadium, Ryan, when Aberdeen played. Do you recall it was Team 2007? And I was there with my good friend Chris Roberts, who I mentioned before. He and myself were on duty covering that in the original stadium. So it's a wonderful city, actually. Madrid's very good. If you ever get a chance to go, I would highly recommend it. But yeah, that new stadium looks the business, doesn't it? It
definitely does.
It's what an arena
definitely
that
not.
is.
They're not short of money, Atletico Madrid, whatsoever. They do work within their means with regard to signings and players like that, but they've definitely got some money. They've got some backing behind them as well, as you'd expect from a Madrid club. The two Madrid clubs are very well off, both Real and Atletico. So that's obviously where they've spent their money. It's a really, really nice stadium. They needed the upgrade, and they've certainly got it. It's a truly stunning stadium, and it's one that Celtic should be proud to play in tonight.
And before we go on, Pete McGee, happy birthday, sir. Even though you give us a ticking off every day, as you say, that's all another year ticked off the list and still breathing, so all good. We'll say happy birthday to you, Pete McGee. We're always on here about 10ish, aren't we, Ryan? 10ish, 5 past 10, something like that. Yeah, around about that. But happy birthday, sir. Hope you have a good one. Take care. Yes, indeed. I don't really care about the odds being stacked against Celtic. I love these games. I live for these games. The players should live for these games as well. Celtic are on centre stage tonight. It's arguably the tie of the night. People might say Dortmund, Newcastle, Milan, PSG, but Celtic, Atletico, or Atletico Madrid, Celtic. That for me is the tie of the night. And
we're a wee bit biased.
We are a wee bit, a big bit biased, probably a big bit. But yeah, mission improbable. Yep, all that kind of stuff. But these records are made to be broken. I was interested in what the manager said yesterday. I quite liked what he said yesterday during his press conference, and I totally agree with him. This is a couple of things that he said. We've played well in the 3 games, and the level of performance has been better with each game. Totally agree with that. And Celtic maybe not had the breaks that football's deserved, but the level has increasingly got better. Yep, agree with that too. And they want to keep it going and see if they can take more points out the next 3 games. That's the objective. And the cynics will probably tell us that we've only got 1 point, but for a team like ourselves, it's always about improving that level of confidence, and that all comes through performance. And we're not daft. We're not out here just to be a support act. I really like that. And some of the comments made by Diego Simeone after the first game maybe surprised other teams we have played because of the intensity and quality in the football. We know this is a game we want to get a positive result to take into the final 2 games. I thought Brendan Rodgers was quite bullish yesterday, and lots of people writing off Celtic's chances, saying they're going to get a doing this, that, and the other. Whatever happens, Ryan, I still think that Celtic will produce a level of performance where you can see more improvement, and that's all Celtic supporters ask for. More improvement, be difficult to beat, and if you can claim a scalp, then claim a scalp, go and make it one of those famous nights. And I mean, the odds are stacked against Celtic because I don't think they're still seeking their first win. They've played 13 games since they beat Anderlecht away under Brendan Rodgers the first time. So, yeah, we know all that, but listen, bring it on. That's what I say.
Absolutely, and there's no other way to go about it, in my opinion. I hope he's confidence isn't too shot to bits after seeing what another team going for it last night in Ange Postecoglou's Spurs. Sorry to mention him, but I feel like everybody was watching that last night. I think everybody and their auntie was watching that game last night. So you're hoping that he hasn't been put off too much by a team that's going for it. And I realise that they were down to 9 men. But I'm hoping that Celtic have that confidence to go into the game and make a fist of it. Until things change on the pitch, it's 11 men v 11 men on the park, and Celtic have got to control the controllables. If they can do that, keep it tight, keep it as low scoring as possible, try and hit Atletico Madrid on the counter. They might even have a lot of the ball again, because Atletico Madrid like playing on the counter themselves. They'll wait for an opportunity for Celtic to make a mistake, see Celtic committing men forward and then counter attack. But it'll be interesting to see the dynamic now that Atletico Madrid are at home. Will they have more of the ball, or will they elect to give Celtic the ball and hope that they can pick them off if they make a mistake in the middle of the park, or maybe going up front, or maybe even at the back if there's a defensive lapse in concentration? It will be interesting to see how the game transpires, but Celtic can control the controllables, cut out any mistakes that happen in the game. There was hardly any mistakes in the game against Atletico. I know Greg Taylor was largely at fault for both of the goals, but if you can cut those errors out, and keep it as tight as you can, then you never know in the game. You've got to be in it to win it. And as long as Celtic keep it tight, then you never know what can happen on a night. Maybe you'll get a refereeing decision for you. Atletico Madrid might get another man sent off. They might lose their rag a bit. They might make a mistake at the back. These things don't matter unless Celtic are still in the game with regard to the scoreline. If they can stay in that scoreline, then anything is possible. This isn't I know we were saying mission impossible, half joking when we're saying that, because Celtic do have a chance. They've got a small chance, but they've got a chance tonight. And if they control the controllables, as I've said about 5 times already in this podcast, but it's so important that they do that, then they've got a really good chance, especially the later the game goes on. Celtic will have players on the bench that can hurt Atletico Madrid. They'll have players that are starting that can hurt Madrid. We've seen it before in Matt O'Reilly, Kyogo and Palma. So those players coming on that want to make an impact. If you're somebody like O and you're annoyed that he didn't score at the weekend, if he gets 20-25 minutes, he will be absolutely desperate to put things right. O should have scored at the weekend. He had 6-7 shots. He had a really good performance. There's a good piece on the website regarding O's performance, but if he can get one chance in that second half that just falls to him, you'd put your money on him putting it away, because he's had enough bad luck. It's about time he gets some good luck in front of goal.
Speaking of goal scorers, Kyogo Furuhashi's going for 3 goals in consecutive
3-3
games in the Champions League. Now, here's a wee bit of trivia. I'm going to ask a question. Who was the last Celtic player to do that? European Cup / Champions League. You can throw your answers into the comment section, and unless somebody gets it, I will flick it up. But hey,
was it Kenny Miller?
I'll hazard a guess and say you'll not get it, Ryan. There you go.
Right, okay, so that's before my time then.
And remember what I said, European Cup / Champions League.
European Cup, right, okay.
So that's a possible clue. But yeah, last Celtic striker to score in 3 consecutive games in the European Cup / Champions League. B comes in, Scott McDonald. It's not him, no.
Scott McDonald was a man for the big occasion with regard to European nights. You think of that AC Milan goal especially.
Captain either, so it wasn't Bobby Lennox either, Plunge.
Is that in the right sort of ballpark, Bobby Lennox, though? That sort of time?
That's latterly Bobby Lennox, I would say, not Bobby Lennox. Not Bobby Lennox, Jockstein, Bobby Lennox, let's put it that way. So, there you go.
Harry Wood? I don't know.
Actually, Bobby Lennox kind of just... It's round about then, but at the latter stages of Bobby Lennox's career, so Jockstein would have been there. So there you go, there's a bigger clue. It wasn't Dalglish, no, it wasn't Murdo McLeod, it wasn't Sutton, it wasn't Frank McGarvey, it wasn't Charlie Nick, no. I've got to be honest, had I not been given the answer or researched it, I would never have got it. So there you go. Wasn't George McCluskey either, or Alan Thompson. Cool. Anyway, we shall go on, and if somebody puts the right answer in, I will let you, or if nobody gets it, I will let you know at the end.
I think we need to give it enough time before somebody's Googled it. I think we'll be able to sell quite quickly.
Not Billy McNeil either, no. There you go. Yeah, but listen, Ryan, you embrace these games, as I said. Got to, I think Rodgers mentioned Celtic going to Rome and winning. They won in the capital in Rome recently under Neil Lennon in the Europa League. He was making the point that Celtic are in the capital of Spain again, so why not? Why can't history repeat itself and Celtic go and claim a huge scalp on the European scene? And yeah, I'm all for that. And what you said, they have to do their jobs well, don't they? It is, and you wonder why they're all football clubs, but they have to win their individual battles. They have to keep it tight for as long as they can, and then hopefully they might get that rub of the green that their displays might have deserved so far, but not got.
Yeah, in terms of a team that will win their individual battles more often than not, I can't think of a more combative team than Atletico Madrid. They're really, really good in those areas in 1v1 duels. They'll be weakened slightly for the fact that their defensive midfielder is out for this game due to picking up 2 yellows in the reverse fixture of Rodrigo de Paul, World Cup winner. Can't take that away from him. So I would assume Now, just looking at their team just roughly, I would assume that Witzel would just move one step ahead and play in that defensive midfield role. The midfield role he's played for Zenit, that he's played for, I think he played for Anderlecht as well, and he played for Borussia Dortmund too. So yeah, he's a very, very well-versed defensive midfielder that was playing at the back, weirdly enough, in Celtic Park. I think there must have been injuries on the night because he was playing alongside Stefan Savic. I don't know the situation regarding Josie Jimenez, but he's probably their best defender, the Uruguayan stalwart. So be interesting to see their team that they go with tonight. I'm sure they'll go with their front two of Griezmann and Alvaro Morata, which is quite formidable. You know, they lead the line. The two of them get a lot of game time for both Spain and France, respectively, international level strikers. But they do have firepower in other areas as well. That Llorente that came on in the second half and the reverse fixture was a real standout. I wonder if he'll start tonight because, you know, in the first half, Atletico Madrid were struggling to get out. And then in the second half, they brought him on at half time and they were getting joy. Yeah, the stats were incredible in the second half. It was like Simeone had flicked on the on switch for Atletico Madrid because of this one player. One player managed to change so much of the game. But there was a lot of good things from Celtic in the second half as well. Yes, I know everybody will talk about the first half with how good Kyogo and Palma and Matt O'Reilly were. But in the second half, there was a real sort of great defensive showing and a great move from Brendan Rodgers as well at the time where I thought it was a bad sub, but it was actually a good sub bringing on Nat Phillips. Because if you're not going to win, there was still a chance of Celtic going on and winning that game, but they did look a bit spent going forward with the ball. They looked tired. Dyson Maeda, for the first time, I think, in his Celtic career, looked absolutely shattered. So did Kyogo. So Brendan Rodgers noticed that. He noticed that there was players that were maybe running on empty a bit and brought on Nat Phillips. I cannot remember exactly who he took off, but he brought on Nat Phillips and essentially got Celtic the draw. In that situation, you've got to be savvy. And if you're not going to win the game, you know what I mean? It's maybe a 40, 60, 50, 50 if Celtic were going to win that game or not. They could have got a lucky break, but so could Atletico Madrid. They had the firepower to go up and make a difference. So they realised that and they were like, no, we're not going to take any risks here. They maybe would have taken risks under the previous manager, but Brendan Rodgers is a bit more tactically savvy in that way and a bit more conservative with a small C. And he brought on Nat Phillips to secure that draw, and I think that was quite an inspired substitution given the circumstances.
I think you watch two managers made changes to influence the outcome of that game. Diego Simeone bringing on Llorente, and Atletico Madrid came right back into it in the second half of that game, made a big difference, and Brendan Rodgers making the sub on Nat Phillips to protect what he had rather than lose it, because we saw what happened in the Lazio game. So I bigged up Brendan Rodgers for that as well. He couldn't afford to lose that game, or else it would have been all over for the campaign. But we have a winner. Paul Pert, Joe Craig in 1977. That's who it was. Joe Craig and Stephen Yvonne Pert. Joe Craig. Yep, that's who it was. Joe Craig was the last Celtic player to score 3 consecutive games in the European Cup / Champions League. 1977 was the year. So Paul must have seen it the same website that I did, just researching stats. But
it was only at Celtic for 2 years. Only at Celtic for 2 years. He was Partick Thistle beforehand, then he moved on to Blackburn Rovers and then Hamilton Accies. So a short career for Celtic, but there was definitely notable moments in it for sure.
Yeah, he scored a wonderful goal at Ibrox in a 1-0 win. I think Ibrox was getting redone. 76, I'm sure. Took it in the spin and cracked it into the top corner. Most of the Celtic dials will remember that, Ryan, in the section. Joe Craig. It's shown if you watch kind of these old videos and DVDs of Celtic. It's always shown. Here it is. He scored a crack at Ibrox. He certainly did. Edward Diver, good question. That was a good question, Edward. I thought that too. David Reed would never have got that. Yeah, I think a lot of people wouldn't have got that. I wouldn't have got it either. But great question. Really, I was really intrigued when I read that this morning. But yeah, I think, Ryan, that could be crucial tonight as well. Substitutions and influencing the game, especially if Celtic can stay in it. Celtic can stay in it past the hour mark, 70 minutes, then you have that dilemma. Do you go for it or not? Don't you?
Yeah.
And, if you get to the last 20 and you're still hanging in there, then I think the substitutes could play a crucial role in this. and coming on and making that impact, desired impact that you want. And even as you say, could they sneak something? Could they sneak a 1-0 or something like that? Just got to keep themselves in it, haven't they? Basically.
Yeah, they've got to keep themselves in it and believe that something can come along. You know, they'll be under the cosh for a large portion of the match, you would assume, especially with Atletico Madrid being the home side. I still think it's going to be interesting, that dynamic, see how much of the ball that Atletico Madrid do have in the game, or whether they elect to gift it to Celtic almost, to wait for them to go and make a mistake. The longer it goes on, the more Celtic will have a chance. It could be worked the other way as well, though, that tiredness could set in, given the temperature as well, and Atletico will be used to the location and the surroundings more than Celtic. I know that shouldn't be an excuse, but it will be. You know, Atletico Madrid play in Spain every single week. Celtic will play there, maybe twice a season, 3 times a season if they get a team in the Champions League, then drop down to Europa League. So yeah, it's a big ask, but at the same time, you know, those subs will be important. They've got, I think, Brendan Rodgers has got to realise when, and he's good at this, he knows when subs should come on the pitch.
Yeah.
I think previous manager as well was good at knowing when a sub was to come on the pitch. If any players are struggling in the game, they should have been brought off a minute ago, basically. If they're showing that they're visibly struggling, you've waited too long. There can't be any players that are towing a caravan in that second half. They've got to be switched on and alert. You know you're going to get that from Callum McGregor. That is an absolute given. You're going to get the 90 minutes. He might tire in the last 10 minutes, but he'll never show it. You know, he'll keep on running for the 90 minutes. Which is why, and you know, I'm just getting my team up, the one that I predicted yesterday. If we can just bring it onto the screen just now.
Do that.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's going to be so important that Celtic use the subs effectively. And it's not a slight on any player that I've not picked for this team or that doesn't get the nod. I just think there's certain players that will suit this type of game more than others. Looking specifically in the midfield, in particular David Turnbull, who maybe doesn't deserve to get dropped in the game. But lo and behold, as we're going to bring this team to the stage, I have dropped David Turnbull for this game. I just think that Bernardo, given his pressures in the last game, is going to be so important away from home at cutting off passing networks and making sure that Atletico Madrid don't get any easy passes into space or into their danger men. So just looking at that team, Tony, this is one that I did yesterday. I managed to get a whole predicted 11 article out with over 1,000 words. Basically, I could just explain everything that I was thinking with regard to the team. There's not a lot of changes in the team, to be honest with you. I know Palma didn't start the game at the weekend, but you know, it felt as if he started because of the amount of impact that he had in the second half. That 20 minutes was absolutely incredible from Palma, and it cemented his place in that starting lineup tonight, I reckon. O'Reilly got 90 minutes rest at the weekend, which was absolutely brilliant. It was great to see him on the bench and not needing to get off the bench. So he'll be fit and ready for a long 90 minutes, you would assume, in Madrid. And then Bernardo, I think he's got to retain his place. I thought he was quietly effective against Ross County. You know, he had quite a few chances, actually, looking back on the stats of the game. A couple of chances he maybe should have done better with, or did better with. But yeah, I think there's definitely a player emerging here. We just need to nurture him and keep him going, because it's only game time that'll make this sort of player better. So just looking at that team, Tony, is there any changes that you would make to that?
I don't know. My big dilemma would be Bernardo. Either bring in Odin Thiago home or maybe even Iwata. It'd be a toss-up between those two. You know what I mean? I just think we need solidity in there. So that would be my biggest concern. Not saying Bernardo's done anything wrong. I definitely agree that Turnbull comes out, but the one thing Turnbull gives you is a dig in it. You might have to, you know, but I still think that maybe Iwata or Thiago home give you that kind of layer of security and a wee bit of dig and physicality, possibly. I don't know if you're maybe going to have to need that, but I'm not disputing that. I mean, 10 out of that 11, I think I would play. Bernardo's the one that I would I don't know, I would wrestle with my conscience on that one, so we might disagree on that, but it would be either Odin Tago home or Iwata in there for Bernardo, I think. And I know what you're saying about the pressures. You said, what was it, 94 or something he had? in the last one?
44.
44.
94 would be an absolutely incredible.
Aye,
See if he was getting
44, aye.
94, I think he would still be getting a rest from that game.
Yeah, 44. I knew it was something that ended with a 4, but yeah, that would be my, and I always talk about like horses for courses and stuff like that. I just think maybe this is a game for Iwata or home, just in my own head. But listen, I don't dispute 10 out of 11. I think 10 out of 11 really pick itself, don't they?
Yeah.
The front three especially are 4, when I'm including the Riley and that Riley, Palmer, Kyogo, Maida. They're going to have to be clinical if they get a chance tonight. It has to go. It can't be, negligent up front. Whatever comes their way, they're going to have to take, because they might not get that many. So,
yeah.
I just, you have to be as sharp as attack on that and alert to those opportunities going forward. It's just at the back that you worry, don't you? The back of the pack and just keeping it tight. And but Scales has been playing out his skin. Carter Vickers is an excellent defender. Johnston's dropped a wee bit, hasn't he? You have to say that. His levels have dropped compared to his high bar. Taylor, you always worry about, but he always gives his all, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's a given, I think. It's just individual.
And Hart, Hart's been excellent this season, so you just need them all to perform, don't you? And 10 out of 11 there, fine. I think they can perform. I think they can raise the level and, improve again. I still think there's a lot of improvement in this Celtic team, and what better way to show you've improved than going to one of the most daunting arenas in Europe and see if you can claim a scalp and get a result.
See, with regard to, and I totally agree with everything that you've said there, it's a massive opportunity for Celtic to gain a massive scalp in the Champions League. One thing that I think will be in Bernardo's favour, and it's just something very simple. Bernardo has played in Portugal for most of his career. He is used to the temperature and the altitude of Portugal.
Yeah.
It's to the west of... it's to the west of Spain. I just used my atlas there in my head. I think he'll be used to playing in these climates, and I think it's important for somebody like Bernardo to have that's quite savvy on the ball, and he knows how to operate in that sort of temperature. I know it'll be quite chilled by the time the game is played, because I think it's at 9 o'clock at night in Spain when the game will get played. So that'll be interesting.
I've no qualms with that team. If he goes with that team, I'm perfectly happy as well. Just my own mind. But listen, I like Bernardo. I like what he's brought to the table. Also as well, and it's another daft thing as well, but he speaks the language, doesn't he? So he'll be able to kind of decipher what the Atletico Madrid players are saying, and maybe relate that back to some of the Celtic players too.
Just a wee slight difference between Portuguese and Spanish.
I know, but I'm sure he's he can, he'll be able to pick up a lot of stuff though.
Yeah, there are some similarities between the two, absolutely.
And relate that if he can, if he needs to, So I mean, there's a lot of pluses in terms of Bernardo being there. I'm just going on kind of what I've seen so far, and I think a lot of people, Celtic sports, want to see more of Iwata, don't they? And I mean, the last time they saw him, he scored a screamer against Hearts at Tynecastle, and he never really did anything wrong, did he?
No.
And but likewise, you could argue the same with Bernardo and Odin Thiago Home in the impact that they've made in the 2 games since. So, but listen, that team I'm perfectly happy with as well. If it's Iwata or Odin Thiago Home in for Bernardo, I'm perfectly happy with that as well. So listen, I think that team, or the one I'm alluding to, that's the strongest team, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good that there's options though in midfield as well, even though Celtic are missing Rio Hatate. Yes, I've still mentioned Rio Hatate in a morning briefing, even though he's injured for a couple of months. But it's these sorts of games, although to be fair, this could be the sort of game that Hatate wouldn't do as well in. He's probably better off at home, where he can dominate the ball a little bit more. He'd be doing a bit more running in the game, which would end up him being tired after 55, 60 minutes, because he doesn't really have an off switch. He's got the same mentality as Daisen Maeda, but he doesn't have the same body and engine as him. He maybe tries to do what Daisen Maeda does in terms of getting about the pitch, but he just doesn't have that that dig that Maeda has to keep it going for like 70, 80, 90 minutes, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate for him. But I'm not going to talk about injured players because there's no point. He can't play. Could be a big night for Bernardo. Could be a big night for whoever comes into the team. You know, it was interesting at the weekend.
It's a big night for them all, Ryan. Let's be honest. You know, this is your 13 games without a win in this competition. No, let's go and shatter that. You know, the odds in the form book tell you, you know, that it's heavily stacked against you.
Yep.
You know, so but listen, these things, they always say that these records are made to be broken. You know, I'll just want one of those nights where things maybe go your way. They have an off night as well. We know the task that's ahead of us. The manager said himself that they're not daft. But I think, like everything else, he's wanting to see Celtic grow into this competition and show that they can become a competitive force. Maybe not so much this year, but in the years to come. But show that you're not scared to go up against this calibre of opposition. That you can take it to them, you can compete, and you can, given time, Celtic will get there, and they will start to, win away from home, win at home, and pick up, more points on a regular basis. And that's what you want from Celtic. And there is not an easy game in the Champions League. You're up against top calibre opposition, and it includes Celtic in that as well. So, it's the nature of the competition. And that's why I always say you've got to have a rip at it. So, yeah, let's go and have a rip at it tonight. And what will be, will be. If they get a doing, everyone will say, well, they expected it. If they get anything from it, yep, it's a bonus. Then you've got 2 games to really, decipher where you're going to be. Either, and if you're going to get that third spot, because you have to think that maybe top 2 spots are out with your reach, but a lot could depend on what happens tonight. So keep yourself in it. That's what I say for the last 2 game showdown against Lazio away and Feyenoord at home. Keep yourself in with a fighting chance of qualification. That's all the Celtic supporters can ask.
Yeah, I think if Celtic are to get anything or to get out of this group whatsoever with European football after Christmas, there needs to be a competitive element to match day 5. It's so important. Now, it could work for you in the reverse way when match day 6 comes along and Feyenoord have already qualified, so they might take it easy at home away from home against Celtic. So, but you've got to be in it to win it. I want Feyenoord to win their next 2 games just to get so far away from the rest of the pack. If they can win that and then Atletico Madrid, I'm fine with Atletico Madrid and Feyenoord being first and second in the group. Doesn't matter what order they're in. I think Celtic's aim now is the Europa League, and it's all down to the Lazio result. That result that happened against Lazio is basically
done for them.
It made this now a Europa League qualification group for Celtic, unfortunately, as sad as that is. But they could really throw a cat amongst the pigeons tonight if they were to get a famous win in Madrid. It totally opens up the group again for a potential Europa League. Makes match day 5 even more massive. They'll be out for if they could get a good result tonight and they're still within touching distance of Lazio, then who knows? Match day 5 could be an absolute howitzer of a game in terms of it could be. It would probably be the game of the group with regard to getting those 2. That spot sorted in the Europa League, and then match day 6, if you were to get a good result, this is me just manifesting here, to be honest. But if Celtic are in a position where they can get European football after match day 6, then that'd be an incredible achievement given how the group started for them. That awful result in Feyenoord when they did play well for the first half. The two red cards, and then the Lazio result, which is even more sickening because they could have won the game. They had the chances to win the game. Instead, they lose it. They don't even draw it. That 1 point of difference. I don't even think it's the 1 point of difference for Celtic. It's the fact that Lazio get the 3 points rather than the 1 point. It's been the difference in that group. That's really, really, it's a sickener, and they've really thrown a cat amongst the pigeons with regard to first and second and third in the group. But if Celtic can keep in it, much like in this game, they can keep in this group, get a good result tonight potentially, then who knows what can happen in the last 2 games. But if they're in it, if they're still in it after tonight, then I think there should be a lot of happy faces around Celtic Park, because after the way that things have started, to bring themselves back into the group would be a mammoth achievement.
Correct. Now, this is the first of a trilogy today, Ryan, isn't it? We'll be on
It certainly is.
pre-match and post-match to discuss the team lineup before the game, and obviously to discuss the result after the game. We'll try and be as quick as we can on the briefing after the game, allowing for press conference et al. We do work, during that. Don't we, sir? We work hard, don't we?
Without a doubt, yeah, absolutely. We endeavour to bring you the best quality Celtic content out there. So in between the videos, we'll be, we've got the pre-match predictions out, so we'll be just setting up the stream for later on tonight. We'll have one when the teams are announced, and then another after the Q&As once all the press conferences. Once I think that's quite good for the way that we do it as well, because we allow the game to settle. We don't go instantly after the match, because you can be quite reactionary after a match. What you think 5 minutes after a game can be completely different after an hour or an hour and a half after. By giving the game time to breathe, you can then bring about your natural thoughts and get a holistic view on the game.
Well, that's what
But if there's a bad decision in the game, then it still will be reactionary. It's up until a point, unfortunately.
Indeed. It's been good to be back. That's 36 minutes. We'll maybe call it a day there, Ryan, because as I say, we'll be on a further twice today in amongst doing other things. Hope you've been enjoying the TikTok as well. Ryan and myself have been on the TikTok, haven't we, Ryan?
I'm going to do two tonight. I didn't do one yesterday, so I'm going to do two today. I'm going to do one after this briefing as a sort of like a pre-match, and then I'll do a post-match one as well, just to keep the TikTokings ticking, basically.
Indeed. So if you're on that, you can tune into that Celtic Way TikTok account. Yep, log on to that, and you'll see either of us alternating kind of day-by-day basis. But if you enjoy that kind of thing, we try and keep down with the kids, don't we, Ryan? At least your old dad is.
Yeah, I try and do that, although it's becoming a bit more scunning for me, because I still feel like a kid in a lot of ways, but I'm clearly not. So
you very much are. You very much are.
But I appreciate you giving the time to go on TikTok and doing that as well. And just before we finish up, we'd like to thank everybody that's been subscribing to the Celtic Way website recently. We still are running that £4 for 4 months offer, or £18 for a year. If you visit www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe, there is a Q&A from Brendan Rodgers as he was speaking to the media. There's some really nice comments actually from Brendan Rodgers on the Asian players. It was a Chinese journalist that asked him about Asian players last night, and he gave a quite wholesome answer with regard to their attitude and their ways of coping in the European game, because it's completely different coming from Asia to Europe, complete culture shock and culture change. So yeah, if you want to have a wee look at that, then that is on the website. Also, there's a great piece from Stuart Ross. I can't emphasise this enough. It's a great individual piece from Stuart regarding O's performance at Dingwall on Saturday. Although he didn't score, he basically did everything else with regard to performance. He was really, really impressive at leading the line, and I think there's definitely more to come from him. Still got to remember, he's only 22 years old. Giakoumakis, those comparisons between the two, Giakoumakis was 27, 26, 27 when he joined Celtic. O was 21. There's definitely more to come from the young striker, and I think Brendan Rodgers is the perfect manager to get that out of him. So yeah, all of that is available on the Celtic Way website. Please subscribe, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe, and get involved. We cannot continue to do these videos, both the pre-match, post-match, and the morning briefings, without your help. So please, if you do have the money and you are able to do so, please subscribe to the Celtic Way website. Thank you very much.
Do what the man says, or do what the kid says, or the boy says, whatever you want to be called, Ryan.
I'll take the man. The man gives me a certain amount of prestige.
Kudos, yes. Do what the man says, yes. Subscribe to the Celtic Way. You know what to do. Hit that button, guys. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. We say thank you to MPH Group for their sponsorship of the Celtic Way morning briefing. Will I say the spiel again, Ryan?
If you want me to do it, I'll do it. I'm absolutely fine doing it. We can split it up. Yeah, I'll do it. I've not done the full one before, so I will do that. So as always, these videos are brought to you by MPH Group, which are Scotland's award-winning family-run all-trade specialists covering all of mainland Scotland. Every service you opt for automatically enters you into MPH's incredible holiday giveaway. You could win a 7-night stay at the luxurious 5-star Moon Palace Resort in Cancun, Mexico. All the links are in the description. With winter rolling in, and if you're thinking of giving giving your home heating system a boost, MPH have an enticing Navien Winter Boiler Promotion just for you. When you opt for a Navien boiler installation through MPH Boilers, not only are you choosing top tier efficiency, but you're also getting a free Navien Internet Controller. This little gadget can crank up your boiler's efficiency to an impressive 98%. And the cherry on top, they're covering the first year's service, no added costs. And if you're wondering why Navien, they're gunning for the Product of the Year at the H&V News Awards, the Oscars of the heating world. And to top it all off, the Navien ON range comes with a 12-year parts and labour warranty. That's some serious peace of mind right there. A big shout out to MPH Group as well. They're nominated for the Small Company of the Year at the same awards. Excellence recognises excellence, right? MPH even offers flexible finance options, so gear up for the chill and consider making a smart move with MPH and Navien. All the links are in the description, and we thank them once again for sponsoring the morning briefing, the pre-match show, and the post-match as well. Thank you very much.
Spoken like a true man and true professional there, Ryan. Excellent stuff. Guys, 40 minutes probably went a lot longer than we thought because we're on for 3 times today, but hope you can join us for the pre-match and the post-match. In the words of Claudio Ranieri, dilly ding, dilly dong, it's the Champions League, man. Come on, yeah. Let's do it. Celtic in Madrid tonight in the Metropolitano, Civitas Metropolitano, I think it's called. Famous one, Ryan. You know, has to happen sometimes. Let it be in our watch. Come on, that's what we want.
Time for dreamers. Dreams don't work unless they do.
Yes, indeed. And there's no bigger dreamer out there than your old dad here. So there you have it. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for the comments. And thanks for taking part in the Joe Craig question. I like that, actually. Might introduce that, Ryan, every now and again.
I think I might do that as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Got lots of people talking. Hopefully, and took a wee while for the right answer to come, but enjoyed that. And I think the subscribers and the commenters would enjoy that as well, as long as we don't make them impossible, Ryan. You know, so, but yeah, I like that. So Joe Craig, 1977, last Celtic player to score 3 times in consecutive games in the European Cup / Champions League. Can Kyogo do it tonight? Here's hoping he can. Ryan. That'd be a nice
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, indeed. Guys, take care. We'll see you pre-match and post-match. And all the best to Celtic tonight. But
stay tuned.
We will talk about that in the fullness of time. Indeed. Ryan, thanks very much, mate. Cheers. Take care.
Cheers.